Have you ever heard of a tall, faceless figure dressed in a black suit, silently watching from the edge of the woods, just beyond where the light can reach? They call him Slender Man, a modern nightmare, born from the shadows of the internet, but whispered about in real life too. No one truly knows where he came from or what he wants, but strange disappearances, eerie photos, and haunting tales have turned him into something more than just an urban legend. Be careful. Don't stare too long into the darkness, because Slender Man might be staring back. In the quiet, unassuming town of Oak Ridge, there existed a legend that parents whispered to their children when the night grew too dark and the wind howled just a little too fiercely. His story was not written in books or taught in schools. It was passed from one trembling voice to another, growing with each retelling, until it became as real as the shadows that danced on bedroom walls. It is said that Slender Man dwells in the deepest parts of the forest, where the trees grow so close together that sunlight barely touches the forest floor. The air there is thick and heavy, filled with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Even the birds seem to avoid this place, their songs fading into uneasy silence as one ventures deeper into the woods. There, among the twisted roots and tangled branches, the legend says, Slender Man waits and watches. Children are warned never to stray too far from home, especially when dusk begins to fall. For it is in the twilight hours, when the world is caught between day and night, that Slender Man is most active. He is drawn to those who are lost, lonely, or curious enough to ignore the warnings. His presence is never announced by footsteps or the snapping of twigs. He moves with a supernatural silence, gliding effortlessly through the trees, his elongated arms trailing behind him like ribbons of darkness. Those who claim to have seen him describe a figure that defies explanation. He has no face, just smooth, pale skin where eyes, nose, and mouth should be. Some say that to look directly at him is to invite madness, for the mind cannot comprehend the emptiness of his gaze. Others insist that he can stretch his limbs at will, reaching out to snatch those who wander too close. And always there is the suit, impeccably tailored, incongruous against the wildness of the forest, as if he were a specter from another world entirely. The origins of Slender Man are shrouded in mystery. Some believe he is an ancient spirit, a guardian of the forest who has grown vengeful over time. Others think he is a manifestation of human fear itself, born from the collective imagination of those who have suffered loss or trauma. There are even those who whisper that he is not of this world at all, but a visitor from a place where the rules of nature do not apply. Stories abound of children who have vanished without a trace, their last known whereabouts somewhere near the edge of the woods. Search parties comb the forest for days, calling out their names, but the only response is the rustling of leaves and the distant creak of branches swaying in the wind. Sometimes, strange symbols are found carved into the bark of trees, circles with crosses through them, or stick figures with impossibly long arms. No one knows who makes these markings, but they always appear after a disappearance, as if to mark the spot where Slender Man claimed another victim. One such story tells of a boy named Thomas, who lived in Oak Ridge many years ago. Thomas was a curious child, always eager to explore and discover the secrets of the world around him. Despite his parents' warnings, he often wandered into the woods, drawn by the promise of adventure. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the shadows grew long, Thomas ventured deeper into the forest than ever before. He followed a trail of strange symbols carved into the trees, each one leading him farther from the safety of home. As darkness fell, Thomas realized he was lost. The woods seemed to close in around him, the air growing colder with each passing moment. He called out for help, but his voice was swallowed by the silence. Then, from the corner of his eye, he saw a figure, a tall, faceless man standing motionless among the trees. Fear gripped Thomas's heart as the figure began to move, gliding closer without making a sound. He tried to run, but his legs felt heavy, as if the forest itself were holding him back. The last thing he remembered was the sensation of cold, bony fingers wrapping around his arm, pulling him into the darkness. Thomas was never seen again, His disappearance became yet another chapter in the growing legend of Slender Man, a cautionary tale for those who dared to venture too far from the light. But the story of Slender Man is not confined to the forests of Oak Ridge. Over time, his legend has spread to towns and cities far beyond, carried by the whispers of children and the fearful glances of adults. Each community adds its own details to the story. Some say he can appear in mirrors, others that he haunts abandoned buildings or lurks in the shadows of city streets. The core of the legend remains the same. Slender Man is always watching, always waiting, a silent predator in a world that has forgotten how to fear the darkness. Some believe that Slender Man can influence the minds of those he targets, planting thoughts and images that drive them to madness or despair. Victims report strange dreams filled with endless forests and faceless figures, or the sensation of being watched even when they are alone. They become withdrawn and paranoid, convinced that something is following them just out of sight. In some cases, they vanish without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic notes or drawings of a tall, thin man with no face. Psychologists have tried to explain the phenomenon, attributing it to the power of suggestion and the human tendency to create monsters out of the unknown. They point to the ways in which stories like Slender Man spread through communities, fueled by fear and imagination. But for those who have lost loved ones or experienced the chilling presence of the faceless man themselves, such explanations offer little comfort. There are those who have tried to confront Slender Man, to unravel the mystery of his existence. Some venture into the woods armed with cameras and flashlights, hoping to capture proof of his presence. Others conduct rituals or seek out ancient texts in search of a way to banish him once and for all. None have succeeded, and many return with stories of strange occurrences. Cameras that malfunction, compasses that spin wildly with a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Despite the fear he inspires, there is a strange fascination with Slender Man. He has become a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that defy explanation. In an age where information is at our fingertips and the darkness can be banished with the flick of a switch, Slender Man endures as a figure who cannot be easily dismissed or understood. Some say that the legend of Slender Man serves a purpose, that it teaches us to respect the boundaries of the natural world, to heed the warnings of those who came before us, and to remember that not all questions have answers. He is a cautionary tale, a shadow that lingers at the edge of our collective consciousness, urging us to be wary of the paths we choose and the secrets we seek. Yet for all the fear and uncertainty he inspires, there is hope in the telling of his story. For every child who listens to the warnings and stays close to home, for every community that comes together to protect its own, the power of Slender Man is diminished. His legend may endure, but it is tempered by the strength and resilience of those who refuse to be ruled by fear. In the end, the story of Slender Man is not just a tale of terror. It is a reflection of our deepest fears and our greatest hopes. It reminds us that the world is filled with mysteries, both beautiful and terrifying, and that the line between reality and legend is often thinner than we imagine. As long as there are shadows in the forest and questions that go unanswered, the legend of Slender Man will continue to haunt our dreams and inspire our imaginations. So the next time you find yourself walking alone at dusk, with the trees closing in and the wind whispering through the branches, remember the story of Slender Man. Remember the warnings passed down through generations and the countless voices that have added their own chapters to the legend. And above all, remember that some mysteries are best left unsolved, and some paths are better left untraveled. For in the darkness, where the light cannot reach, Slender Man waits, silent, faceless, and eternal. He is the shadow at the edge of the woods, the chill that runs down your spine, the reminder that even in the modern world, there are still things that cannot be explained. And as long as we tell his story, he will never truly disappear, but will linger in the corners of our minds, a haunting presence in the ever-deepening night. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of the Slender Man legend is not the creature itself, but what it reveals about us. Our need to create monsters, to to give form to our fears, and to share those fears with others is as old as humanity itself. In telling the story of Slender Man, we confront the darkness within ourselves, the part that wonders what lurks just beyond the reach of the firelight, and whether we are truly ever safe. And so, the legend endures. It is told around campfires, whispered in school hallways, and shared across the endless expanse of the internet. Each retelling adds new details, new horrors, and new worlds, ensuring that Slender Man remains as elusive and terrifying as ever. In the end, perhaps that is the true power of the legend, not in the creature itself, but in the way it brings us together, reminding us that we are all vulnerable, all afraid, and all searching for answers in a world that is often stranger than we can imagine. The Slender Man is more than just a story. He is a symbol of the unknown, a guardian of the boundaries between light and darkness, and a testament to the enduring power of human imagination. So as the night falls and the shadows grow long, remember the legend of Slender Man. Remember the lessons it teaches, the fears it awakens, and the hope it offers. For in the telling of his story, we keep the darkness at bay and remind ourselves that even in the face of the unknown, we are never truly alone.